Hello everyone, it's Jean, and today I am going to be altering an old vintage book. As you can see, it's very beat up and ready to be thrown away, but I'm going to alter it and make a no-sew mini journal out of it. So first I'm going to just take off the cover, which is not anything hard because there was no spine on here. Love the color and all the aging on that book. And so I'm going to take the front cover and I'm going to cut that in half. And so that will be the size of my journal. I was going to trim off all that little extra stuff hanging over there on the side, but I decided to leave it because I didn't want this to be kind of grungy and junky looking. So I left it on there, and I believe it was, it's 8.5 wide, so 4.25 by, I think, about 5 inches, I think is the size of the journal. So I had to go through it a couple times, and that paper, the paper on the back of it was pretty thick, so took a few attempts. These old books were made with such good quality paper. And I'm just going to pick at it, maybe make it even a little bit more distressed there around the edges. And I have some paper here. I created some digitals that have neutrals, just, collaged together with some botanical prints. And I'm going to take my ruler that has a serrated edge on it, but really, in the end, I think you could just use a plain ruler for sure. Don't buy a ruler like this extra, special. But I didn't want the edges to be too cleanly cut. I'm going to fold it over, and what I want is I want about a 1/2 inch on left over on one of the sides. And I'm using a ruler to tear, but I think I end up using my hands too to make it even more jagged. But I wanted to have a little bit peeking up over the cover as well, peeking up outside of the cover with my 1/2 inch. Now that 1/2 inch here that I'm folding over is going to be the reinforcers, the hole reinforcers, because this journal's spine is going to be a ring, 2 rings I'm going to put in it to hold the pages together. And so the different pages, I want them to be uneven as well. And sometimes I fold it to the plain side, sometimes I fold it to the other side. I'm kind of like varying the fold a little bit. So this is probably the easiest way to reinforce the spine, is just by folding it over there, or the place where the page connects to the spine. And here I'm hand tearing it, which I think I end up preferring that, or a variety is probably key here. So I'll just glue this portion down on the 2 pages. And of course ink around it, which should have done that before I glued. But distress it more. Now I'm using walnut, just Tim Holtz Distress Ink Walnut Stain, and it took me a long time to kind of warm up to this color, but it is darker than Vintage Photo Vintage, or Vintage Photo. Now this particular digital is printed out on parchment paper, and so the back of it is a little too clean. So I'm using one of his stencils here that just have spots and drops on it. I do like the darker stain for something that's really grungy though. And so here we have a couple pages done, and yeah, and so I'm going to proceed forth doing the rest of them that way. Now, folding over the side of the paper is one way to add reinforcers, but another way, of course, would be to just put down strips of paper. So the paper that's in the book was very it was thick, but it cracked quite a bit and peeled, and I was afraid that if I folded the paper over, it would just crack and kind of fall apart. I'm sort of hesitating to do that. So what I decided to do then, instead of folding over that page, I'm just going to take a strip of paper, whatever, of new paper, of a modern piece of paper to reinforce that with, and I think the holes would not be so likely to tear. So that's another way you can put reinforcers down on the side pretty easily. Of course, you can always get the little round circles and put those in separately, but this is really quite easy to do. So I did like doing a variety of hand torn, ruler torn, just make it a little different. Now, besides all of the digital prints, I also have tea stain paper, just a variety of other kind of papers there too. Vintage music paper. Just added whatever I could find. Just making it raggedy all around the edges. Another thing that I thought I would do too is make pockets from the papers. So after I folded down the reinforced part, I would fold up the bottom. Pretty simple. Now to cut down the bulk, I am tearing off a little strip on that flap, just so it's not quite so bulky in that area. Now you can make a pocket from the side as well, rather than fold it from the bottom, just fold over on the side and kind of make a side tuck spot like that. So here I have finished my papers. And just showing you the variety that I have in here. I have a little glassine bag inside as well. And I might add more pages, I don't know, we'll see. Now for the cover, I have this digital print that already looks distressed. You may not be able to pick it up on the camera, but it is already, the print itself is distressed. And I want it to look like it's been peeling off the front cover a little bit, so I'm just taking little bites out of it with my thumb all the way around it, distressing it, of course. Wasn't sure everything that I wanted to put on the cover quite yet, so I just chose a piece that I felt was could be a rather a background that could go with almost any kind of theme, and that matched that pretty shade of reddish orange on the cover. I'm putting a glue stick in the middle, which is my new favorite way of gluing down things like this, because I avoid any kind of little bumps with the glue, but I am using the glitter glue around the very edge, because I don't think I think it's hard to get the glue stick to go all the way to the edge, or really to see that you've done it. And I think that the putting the glitter glue around the edge really does secure it even more. So now the inside can be nice and smooth, and then it's attached really well with the glitter glue. It also saves on my glitter glue. I might do more distressing on this front cover, and it's not complete, but it's a start. I will distress the edges here, but I might take like a pair of scissors or something and just put streaks in the front of it. I don't know. We'll see what I do. So I'm going to be putting in rings. So it is a no-sew type of journal, but the rings are pretty shiny. So I'm going to take the shine off by using hydrogen peroxide, white vinegar, and salt. Any kind of salt is good. I'm just going to put in maybe half a cup of hydrogen peroxide here, and a splash of vinegar. I don't know, maybe a tablespoon, something like that. And a couple teaspoons of salt. I would recommend wearing gloves if you're going to do this, because even though all the ingredients by themselves is safe or not caustic, it does create a chemical reaction. So I'm putting this, stirring this in here, and I'm going to let these set for about 10 minutes. Now this will rust your metals, and I didn't want them to be fully rusted because I felt like they wouldn't, it would be hard to have the pages turn, because if they were catching the pages all the time, I didn't want it to be too rusty. I just basically wanted to have the shine or the sheen taken off. I probably could have, as you can see, there's a little bit of rust that's already kind of starting on it, which is very cool. I think it was a nice amount there. I will give you a recipe here. I'll put it over here on the screen and you can stop it, but I'll put a recipe that I use to rust a whole, bunch of stuff, and it will, if you leave it in like for the whole day or something, you can see that it really starts to rust it pretty good, like it's been around for ages, right? And I just didn't think that would spin well or just work that well inside the journal. So I do want them darker, so I'm going to get some alcohol inks. The color I don't think matters so much. I know you can't read the colors. It doesn't. But what I have are two shades of brown. I have like a dark brown and like a medium brown and a little bit of green. And I think they were ginger, teakwood, and mermaid. I do believe those were the name of the inks that I used. But that's, and I will say you need to go kind of gentle on the green. It can take over if you let it. And then I'm just going to stain the rings with this, and it kind of gives it a faux rust look to it. Now you could do this without taking the sheen off of the rings, which I did once, but it's quite shiny. It leaves a lot of shine, so I felt it looked a little bit more authentic if you took that initial sheen off. And I'm just going to add it to little places where it was kind of hard to get it stained. Dries pretty quickly. You have to work a little fast with this. And I'm wearing gloves because I don't want to be too stained. Although I have to say it, you know, it will wash off. It may take a little while. Then I just leave these dry for about 20 minutes. So I'm going to punch my holes in the side. I'm choosing the smooth side of the book for the spine area. Just personal preference, no other reason, I guess. And so I just do the one, and then I'm going to line up the back cover. And we'll be putting the rings in. The nice thing about a ring bound journal is that you can add pages, take pages out, move pages around. Makes it kind of easier to maybe decorate each page. I do have two sizes here, but I think that the medium size here is going to work the best. So what I'll be doing in the future is I'll be working on the pages and on the cover. So thanks so much for watching, and please like this video if you enjoyed this, and we will see you in the next part. Have a great day.